From the city of brotherly love, this is Shark Bite Biz with David Strausser.
And you've just arrived to the newest episode of Shark Bite Biz. I'm your rock star wannabe host, David Strausser, and this is your place to learn how to grow a business during a complete global chaos. Today, we're going to chat with the founding member of a legendary rock and metal band. First, though, remember, please download the Shark Bite Biz app. You can find it exclusively on the Google Play Store. Okay, it's only on Android right now. We will get an Apple version soon. I promise. It's in the work, just delayed a slight bit, but it'll be there. But meanwhile, if you have an Android device, you can go there, get it, Shark Bite Biz, Google Play Store. You can get every single episode of this. You can get the promo clips, you can get the short YouTube clips, video, audio, all there, one app. Plus, if you hit that little menu button and you look for coffee store, you can buy our amazing coffee, Dead House Coffee, right there in the app. I gotta tell you, this is the freshest coffee on earth. It is roasted, sealed, and shipped to your doorstep within a 24-hour period. So whether through the app or if you go to deadhousecoffee.com, you can use code SHARK. You're gonna save 20% off your order, okay? You get the freshest coffee on earth. We get your proceeds to continue building the biggest and best show we possibly can. So thank you for your support. And now let's get back to today's episode. It's hard to last longer than a minute in a music band. Yeah, you can have a hot flash. Look at somebody like Brian Vander Ark of the Verb Pipe, where we had him on telling his story as far as having the freshman that came out and then following it up with some, minor hits. I think it was Photograph or something like that, one of the songs that came out after. But really nothing more than that, living in a van and ended up having to do kids' music just to be able to do something that he loves. And, it was like that up until now. He's back, not on top of the world, but he's back as far as music is his full-time life. And, something did just happen. As you all know, I usually record these interviews a few weeks ahead of time, and then I do the intro and our outro segments right before they air because I like to make sure that they're framed for context at the time that they're airing. And, this was very coincidentally, but we just found a way out this weekend that Taylor Hawkins, drummer for the Foo Fighters, apparently he passed away in the Foo Fighters South American tour in Bogota, Colombia, I believe is where he passed away. And, life is short. And this has been a very unfortunate trend in the music industry. We've lost some of our most creative, some of our most talented minds way too early. People like Hendrix, Cobain, Amy Winehouse. I mean, there's so many people that you could pick out from that list as far as why is it so hard to be in a band for 30 years, for 10 years, so many hot flashes in a pan and then they're gone for one reason or another, or maybe they only had one or two albums in them and that was it. It's really hard. Today's guest, though, is going to tell us the secret family recipe about how they have found success over decades in the music industry. So, who do we have today? You may know him as Joey Z, but Joey Zampella is a founding member of the legendary Brooklyn metal band Life of Agony and is the president of Joey Z Productions. Joey Zampella, as I said, founding member and guitarist of the hard rock band Life of Agony. He sustained a career in recording, touring, and music production for 30 plus years. And this veteran swears He was born to do this. Collectively, the records he's co-written and performed on have sold well over 1 million copies worldwide. He is also the president of Joey Z Productions. So anybody out there, music band, whatever, please reach out to Joey Z. He's been in the business. He knows the industry. He knows how to do everything. This guy is one of the nicest, sweetest rock stars I've ever met. It's hard to say somebody's more humbler than Joey Z. Well, maybe Alan Roberts. We had him, and he actually sent me an autographed book. Hey, Joey, send me an autographed guitar. Just kidding. So, hey, I'm going to shut up now. Let's bring in the real rock star, none other than Mr. Joey Z himself.
Creative and innovation tips.
Joey Z, welcome to Shark Bite Biz. You, my friend, you just became Shark Bait.
I love the title of the show because as a kid growing up, I was deathly afraid of sharks. My idiotic cousins took me to see Jaws when I was 8 years old in the movie theater, and seeing Jaws at 8 years old, I didn't even want to sit on the toilet bowl. My mom wanted to kill them. I could not go near water. I would cry. So that fear is still in me a little bit. So when I saw the name of the show, when you invited me on, I was like, this is going to be good.
This is definitely going to be good. You know, I just interviewed a fellow Stuart Leo from Australia yesterday. We have fans down in Australia and interviewed him, and yeah, he's like down there. We definitely have sharks like all around us.
Big sharks.
And spiders and a lot of other gnarly things that'll just eat you in the middle of the night. But anyways, we got a tradition on this show. I cannot allow you to escape. I already gave your introduction. That's your formal introduction, okay? Right. Our tradition in the show is I like to hear it out of your mouth, okay? What's your experience? What's your background? What do you do for a living? You know, basically, what makes Joey Z Joey Z?
Okay. Well, I'm Joey Zampella, born in Brooklyn, New York. At a very young age, I kind of latched on to music as an escape, I would say.
What's a very young age to you?
Well, my mom would play records all the time when we were younger. We lived in a very small apartment in Brooklyn, and she would play records like Billy Joel, Barbra Streisand, all kinds of records. And I found myself always being drawn to the music when she would play it. And then my cousins had a Kiss record that I fell in love with at a very young age, like 7 or 8 years old. And that was it. Like once I heard Kiss, I was into heavy metal. So soon after, not so long after.
But that's a funny thing. In 2022, would you really consider Kiss heavy metal? You would back then, but would you consider them heavy metal now?
Well, if you want to go into genres, I would consider Kiss heavy metal. Now, I wouldn't consider them like
maybe hard rock.
Hard rock. Okay. You got me there. Dave. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I would say hard rock, but you know, back then, hearing Kiss after you heard
in the 70s, they were. I'm a huge Aerosmith fan. In fact, you could probably see in the corner there on my screen, trying to point with the camera, right about there, right there. You got Mr. Brad Whitford and myself, and then that's a huge Aerosmith poster. And what you don't see, you can barely start seeing on the side there is Steven Tyler and Joe Perry with me as well, too. So I'm a huge Aerosmith fan. And one of Kiss's first opening tours was with Aerosmith.
I've heard, and that just is like a testament to Aerosmith, how long they've been around. I mean, that was one of Kiss's first tours. Think about what you just said. That is, wow. You know,
they were Aerosmith's opening at... I think it was Toys in the Attic, which is, it was either Get Your Wings or Toys in the Attic, which was their second album. Their second album, Get Your Wings, has some classics, you know, like Same Old Song and Dance, stuff like that on there. But then you get into Toys in the Attic, that's where you have Sweet Emotion, you have Walk This Way, And then
Huge hits.
Dream On was actually re-released as the B-side to Sweet Emotion.
Go
so
figure.
even though it was released on their first album and it kind of flopped, when it was re-released as the B-side to Sweet Emotion, some DJs turned it around. They're like, "Yeah, this is pretty gnarly." And then then all of a sudden,
And
I
that
think
took off.
that took off the second time around. And then I think that's when Kiss, basically Aerosmith gave Kiss one of their big first touring breaks with that. And then that's how the big Monsters of Rock or whatever they titled it, the Kiss Aerosmith tour that happened, I don't know what, about 15 years ago now. It seems like in somewhere 2000s. That's how that second tour happened. I didn't get to see that one. Ticket prices were a little bit too rich for me at that time because, I mean, seeing Kiss is not cheap. Seeing Aerosmith's not cheap. Seeing Kiss and Aerosmith, like, super not cheap.
so jumping.
Yeah, go with your story.
Jumping back in, I started getting into more extreme rock and metal after Kiss. I started listening to Black Sabbath and, of course, eventually Metallica when they, came out or started becoming popular in the early 80s. And then I wanted to play guitar. And that was it. After I started playing guitar as a young guy, my parents got divorced. I was 13 years old. And I was helping my mom a lot around the house with my baby brother who was just born. Mm-hmm. And she said, for everything you're doing for me, your next birthday, I'll help you get a guitar. And that's when I got my first electric guitar. I got a Fender Performer, which is a very rare, odd guitar. Not too many people even know what it is, but I got one of those and I sat on the couch, watched my brother while my mom went to work, and I learned all my favorite songs on my own. And that's how I kind of knew.
Okay, so you're one of those self-taught. Okay, this is how they play that. This is the notes. You didn't have to do the teaching, stuff like that.
Yeah, I had some friends that I would get together with after school, and some established guitars that showed me some chords. Like, check out, this is a power chord. This is this. This is that. And some really awesome friends, and I would jam with them and learn songs with them. But from there, I would say I'm more of an entrepreneur because what happens is you have to be successful in the music industry, I believe, if you don't have that mega hit that you just all of a sudden make a ton of money, I think you got to wear many hats. And over the years, that happened naturally with me, like being in the studio. I love that environment. I love being in the recording studio. I love the whole process. And so that was an additional hat that got flopped onto my head without me having to think too hard about it. And then, you go into like nowadays, just to jump really forward really quick, now I'm doing post-production for movies already. So you go from learning guitar on the couch at 13, now I'm doing some really big recordings, some post-production for movies. I'm out there playing live on stage. I'm making records of my own, obviously, with the bands I'm in. And so in the end, to really be successful, I feel being a musician on my level, let's say, let's face it, Life of Agony, we're not the size of Metallica. We're not the size of Guns N' Roses, but we have an established following that's really dedicated to us. But
that's one thing I noticed. I was just at your show. That's where we met. And you have an established following. I mean, even just my friend base, like I was surprised because I kind of, knew who Life of Agony was. I, know some of the music through the years, stuff like that. I'm one of the people, I mean, even Alice Cooper, like, I knew his 2-3 big songs like Poison and School's Out, stuff like that. But then I go see Alice Cooper in concert, and it's one of the things like opinion totally changed. He is one of my favorite artists. I'm probably one of the biggest diehard Alice Cooper fans right now. And it was kind of like the same thing with seeing Life of Agony, talking to the fans, talking to the dedication, like, okay, this band's been around for 30 years. They're doing something right if they're still doing gigs at 30 years of being a band. And then to see the show that you all put on. I mean, you all are workers. You are definitely working the crowd. You're putting the energy out. You're throwing the love out there. And the show, it was excellent. I mean, even
Thank you.
I was surprised the opening bands that were there. The first one,
Kings Never Die.
What was it? Yeah. Kings Never Die, right?
Yeah.
King.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I mean, they were really, really awesome, and
awesome.
I was impressed from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great package out there. Kings Never Die, Dog Eat Dog, and Life of Agony. It was a fantastic, great musicians all around in the room. Hard workers, like you said, like, you know, we've all been doing this for many years. All those guys in those bands, you know, Dog Eat Dog has been around since Life of Agony has been around since the early 90s, you know, late 80s, early 90s. So it was just wonderful to be out there with them. And we, you know, you're right. We are very grateful, and we are a hardworking band. We don't expect it all to come to us, is I think the key. I believe what we try to do is, what I know we do is we put out the energy, like you said. We make an effort. We go the extra mile for the show, for the fans, whether it's after the gig, during the gig. We're always trying to better what we've done yesterday. I think that's what keeps you fresh.
No, definitely. And like, we saw Bon Jovi, we still live in San Diego. So I'd like to say it was probably somewhere between 2012, 2015-ish. I mean, it was that blah of a show that I can't even remember the exact year, where most of my shows, I was, you know, Aerosmith, you know, I could give you the dates probably of all 26 shows if I had to. But with Bon Jovi, it was that blah of a show. There was no energy, no excitement. His voice wasn't there anymore. I mean, you know, the singers get old. We understand voices change. You've dealt with that with listening to Steven Tyler over the years, but we did not feel the energy. We were turned off with Bon Jovi. We will never go see him again. It was that blah of a show.
But here's the thing. I totally understand what you're saying, and I know probably what they did wrong. It was the preparation, because some of these bigger bands, and I don't know their work ethics, but from what I hear, a lot of these bigger bands don't even get together and play together anymore. They show up at the gig. They show up at the gig and expect to put on a concert in front of 20,000 people and nail it. But honestly, all the preparation that goes into the rehearsing, the practicing on your own, doing the vocal, you know, it all makes it better. I don't care what level you're on. You're still a person. You still got to put the work in. I don't care how great of a guitarist you are or think you are, you know, without continuing your practice, playing, keeping those muscles very ready, the
muscle memory,
natural, like, so you're not thinking of it. It just happens. And that's when I feel Life of Agony has always been its best, when we are not thinking about anything up there. We are just letting it happen, letting the energy come to us and letting it come out of us. It's almost like that tennis ball, like that tennis match of energy with our crowd. We give it and then we get it back, and it just goes. But I think a lot of that has to do with preparing. I really do, David. And I think
how often do you prepare then? I mean, how often does Life of Agony get together between tours? Let's just say, like, if you're ramping up for a tour, that's one thing. I imagine you all practice, but even between tours, when you're on your off time, is it like everybody goes your separate ways, or do you still treat each other like family?
Oh, we're still a family, and we're constantly looking to do something, whether it's, you know, get together to do some writing, or, you know, this COVID thing really threw us for a loop. I got to be honest, because there was a pretty substantial gap there. I mean, I'm talking I would say almost 2 years where we did not even see each other just this past, because of due to related family health issues. We couldn't be in the same room with each other. But long story short, before that, you know, our work ethic has always been really good. We love getting together as a family, as a group, as a band, whatever it is, even if it's going out to dinner.
When you're together for 30 years, it's more than just like we're a band or we're friends. I mean, that's where 30 years, it's kind of like you got that family feeling going on, right?
Well, we are really family. You know, the singer is my cousin. We were raised in the same house.
So that's something I did not know, that
Mina
you and Mina were cousins.
Yes.
There you go.
You didn't see the film, did you? You obviously didn't see The Sound of Stars.
No, I did not see the film.
So this film is not out.
Yeah, I want to see the film.
Yeah, it's coming out. You're going to get a chance very soon. So the film had a screening during COVID. We had a 3-week, or it was like a 2-week screening where it was like an advanced director's cut that our fans and whoever could buy a ticket and see the film in advance in that form, in that director's cut form. Now there's been some cutting, some footage added. Really, really amazing film, and it's going to come out now. Now the film is scheduled. They're looking at spring, so you're going to be hearing a lot more about it. But in the film, you find out a lot about us. But most Life of Agony fans know that Mina we're cousins. Mina and I are cousins. Okay. We grew up pretty much in the same house. They were joined houses. My mom and Mina's dad were brother and sister. We lost both of Mina's parents, my uncle and my aunt, from heroin overdoses.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah, and that's what kind of fueled Life of Agony. We've been playing music together since we're kids, Mina and I. So, I mean, from the point where we were, 13 years old, 14, she's at the piano, I'm on guitar. We've been doing this in our homes. So we've been actually been playing music together for, even before Life of Agony. So, yeah, so, it is a family. I guess my point is, and then Alan Goldstein had been my best friend from high school. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were in class together. We went to the same school. We, hung out together after school.
Alan is a basic. He is the most humblest, kindest dude we've had on the show. I got to tell you, I've got to ask you, his artwork, his beauty of horror.
Yeah.
I love it. It is a really cool, unique style. And,
fantastic.
To me, like, he was using terms like colorist and things like that. And I'm trying to I guess, you're making a coloring book. I guess that makes sense. And then he's explaining how this whole world works. And I'm looking at the book right now. And I mean, even the cover, it's just he's gorgeous. Incredible artist, the Monster Chompers with the art that they have going with those NFTs.
Absolutely.
And it's inspiring.
Yeah, Alan was born with this talent. He was drawing like that ever since I've known him, since we were kids. I gotta say, certain people are born with certain talent. And Alan was born with that right hand that's connected to a certain part of his brain. It's a very dark part of his brain, by the way. It's connected to a certain point of his brain. And he's just incredible. And he turns out amazing work. And we're very lucky to have that in Life of Agony, because Alan has always been able to come up with the next thing and come up with the next look, or he's just very good at that. And we're just so blessed to have that.
And how much of the Life of Agony artwork does Alan actually design?
Alan designed, I would say 100%. I don't even know if there's a sliver
when I
of
had him
percent
on,
off.
I don't think he was willing to take credit for 100% of it.
No. I
mean,
was
more like it's a group effort. But
no. I mean, there's been album covers done by other artists like Soul Searching Sun. But Alan, as far as coming up with, say, the design concept or the artwork concept and sending it to someone. So okay. He hasn't been hands-on 100% of the artists that did the work, but as far as
he may have been draft or influence of it, because that's one thing I saw at the show was some of the design work for Life of Agony, and
absolutely,
it's good. I mean, it's amazing.
Absolutely.
Like it. The only bummer was that it was cash only. Come on, man. Only cash only for the merchandise.
It's funny you say that, because on this past run, that thought crossed my mind, because the world, obviously business world, and as we know it, and everything is going to plastic, everything's going to digital. And it's funny, I attended a Madison Square Garden show. I took my daughters, and I was shocked because
Tap and pay.
my daughters go, "Hey Dad, we want to get a shirt." It was during the Christmas, it was called Jingle Ball or something over at the garden. And so we go up to this concession stand, and they want shirts. So go up to this guy, and I say, "Oh, we want that one, that one." And then I take out my wallet. He goes, "Oh no, we don't take cash." I was like, "You don't take cash at Madison Square Garden? What?"
Right,
he goes, "No cash. We do all card only." I'm like, it blew my mind. For a second, I just looked around like I was in the Twilight Zone. I was like, I'm about to hand this guy cash. He said, "No cash." But
that was my only criticism. At least at the place in Philly, they didn't have an ATM. So there was no way for people to get cash if you didn't have cash.
You weren't getting a shirt, right?
And there was no, and that's where I was so bummed, because whenever I go to a show and I like the band, and especially because Alan gave me tickets. So, I mean, all we had was our Uber cost back and forth. Like, I'm going there, I'm going to be buying one of every single shirt to say thank you to Alan. Aww. And, I couldn't even do that.
You should have just asked.
You already gave the tickets. Yeah, you gave me a guitar pick. Alan gave me one of his. And I tell you what, I think I told Alan this, but they're in good company. I have my pick collection. So you're up there with Joe Perry. You're up there with Slash, Ace Frehley. I got in my collection. And these aren't like bought picks off the internet. I mean, they're picks that I've gotten from the guitarist at the show. So
that's a fine group of musicians there. That's a fine group of musicians.
Yeah, there's what is it? Nikita Strausser, I believe. Nikita's her first name, right? Nikita Strausser, Lita Ford. Who else? There's Oriante's there as well too. Yeah, and so my guitar pick collection, I'm almost as proud as my actual guitar collection.
Wow,
your picks are right up there with their picks.
Thank you. That guitar collection, you said, for all you listening and watching, David sent me a picture of his guitar collection, and my mouth just went. Beautiful guitars, those Les Pauls, that blue one you have, which is a standard, I believe, right?
No, that is, well, yeah, it's a standard, but it's a figures. Now my mind goes blank, but you can see it on the Shark Bite Biz website. If you go there, it's that guitar that I'm holding on the main sharkbitebiz.com website. It's a
standard
Les Paul standard, but it's
an anniversary.
It's one of the premium things, because it's got like all the hardware and the platinum and stuff like that. And it came, I mean, the case alone for it is like this platinum case that's worth like $700-800.
Wow!
I mean,
holy crap!
Yeah.
So it was like a special series. It was a special series.
This is a special series one. Now, they had one that was a couple $100 cheaper that didn't have all chrome hardware throughout. I think only the humbuckers were plated with the chrome. But this is everything from, the tuners to the volume switches to the rhythm switch. Everything there is like chrome. It's beautiful. That is my baby. And it was Blueberry Burst. As soon as I saw that, I was like, because I've been waiting to buy I guess you could take an expensive guitar, a stellar guitar, because most of my guitars are between $1,000 to $2,000. So I was like, hey, I want to go out there. I want to get one that's got an MSRP of over $6,000, and then just try to get a hell of a deal on it. And this was the guitar.
It was gorgeous.
I love it. And it sounds amazing. You can borrow it anytime. Just don't smash it on stage.
No, don't. I would never do that. I also saw your 3 pickup, your Black Beauty, your Gibson Custom.
Yeah, that's the one I sold. Yeah.
And then I saw you look like you had a faded cherry Gibson Les Paul custom somewhere in the middle of the rack.
I have a faded cherry there in the rack. I have a Joe Perry Les Paul, but it's the Epiphone version. I have a 100-year anniversary red wine Epiphone, but it's like Les Paul's 100th birthday edition of it. I bought the Epiphone version of it, but the Joe Perry one and the 100th edition Les Paul, even though they're Epiphone, don't take them down for a notch. I mean, they are both high-end guitars. Yes. They sound. I tell you what, because I have like the white one I have, and I have an Alpine white Gibson that was maybe like a $1,200 Gibson Les Paul, and that guitar I think sounds worse than either of the two high-end Les Pauls I have.
Listen, it all boils down to the cut of wood. And, you know, most of these guitars are put together the same way. You got to remember, they're all put together. But the actual parts and wood and everything that's put into each guitar is different because no two pieces of wood are the same. And that's what makes every single guitar on the planet different when you think about it. Every guitar that was ever made is an individual because it's an individual piece of wood that's different from the next. Okay, there could be some that's cut from the same tree or batch, and they'll be very, very similar. But every guitar is different because of the cut. And just to throw it out there.
Well, not only that. Now, besides the cut, so that's that affects the sound, that and the hardware and stuff like that. But they're also unique pieces of art because my Blueberry Burst. Okay, even though that's I think Gibson labeled it quadruple A flame is what it had triple on there flame, for the finish. Okay, that's all handmade. So while there may be ones that look similar, there are no two on the face of the earth that are that exact same coloring because they're all handmade. So while they kind of look alike, they're all different with their own unique.
It's a rub,
right?
Yeah, I get it. And that's what drives the value of those guitars through the roof is because they are all one of a kind, something like that. From the cuts of wood to what they use to the actual finish is just all original and rare. One thing I got to tell you that's kind of exciting relating to what we're talking about is that I recently I'm back with Gibson in so many words. I'm back with Gibson Guitars, and
That's why you love my Les Paul so much.
Yeah, I'm back with them. I've never, in other words, I've never stopped playing my Gibsons, but now I'm back tied to the company again through.
You're back as one of their signed artists, right?
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah, without signing paperwork just yet. Again, I'm basically a Gibson artist again. I'm in touch with a great rep, and he just sent me a USA Flying V that the point of this story is I just sent it to Austria. There's an artist in Austria. His name is Tom Lohner, a very famous artist that loves Life of Agony. He said, I want to do a guitar for you. I want to do a guitar for you. He took me out to dinner in Manhattan a few months ago before the holidays, and he said, Joey, I want to do a guitar for you. Is there any way you can get me one of your Gibsons so I could do the artwork? And this guy is amazing. So Gibson sends me this USA V. I got it a few weeks ago. What I did was the guitar came in the mail. I took it completely apart, took every component, everything off of it. And I shipped the guitar within a day from Gibson sending it to me. I shipped it to Austria to Tom Lohner.
Wow.
And he is in the process right now of
making you your own guitar.
V for me. Okay. So it's very exciting. This is talk about one of a kind piece. Very excited about that guitar, getting that back.
That is going to be amazing. I can't wait to hear it. And I had to look it up while we were chatting because I know this off my tongue, but for some reason I finally asked what it was, and it's like but it is a standard. It was a 2017 standard high performance model.
Oh wow! I've never even heard of that terminology when it came to high performance.
I believe it says high performance. And I'll show you a picture because even when I said everything's chrome, the tags that they put on the guitars that'll say like Les Paul or standard or traditional or whatever. Like even that's in chrome and it's engraved and stuff like that. So it's a pretty crazy guitar that I definitely love. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you, you brought this up earlier. You said bands. Okay, we've spent a lot of time talking about Life of Agony. But what other bands do you play with or do you do music for?
Yeah, there was a band called Stereo Mud. We were signed to Columbia Records. That was Life of Agony had taken a break in 1998, right after 98 going into 99. Life of Agony had taken a break. My cousin Mina went on to do some other things. She went on to do her own solo project. And Alan and I had taken a break from doing Life of Agony. So I started with other people. I started a band called Stereo Mud and did that for a couple of records on Columbia. And that band was very successful, believe it or not. We toured with bands like Disturbed, Crazy Town. Wow. We did some big tours, Seven Dust. And that was a very fun, exciting band. We did a lot of stuff. We played with Stained, Godsmack. We did a lot of stuff. It was very, very cool band. It was very, how would you say, current sounding, modern at the time. It was a very
2000s-y.
Yes, very early 2000 sounding band. Fit right in with your Seven Dust and the Godsmack type of sound. If you ever want to check that out. And then a very dear friend of mine who passed recently, Peter Steele from Typo Negative. I don't know if you ever heard a band Typo Negative.
I know Typo Negative. I saw them back. I think it was probably one of my first shows up in this really gothic place. I think it was up in Scranton. Pretty sure late 90s. Does that make sense?
Tinks? Was it the club called Tinks or?
No. Wasn't Electric Factory. Electric Factory is Philly, right?
Yeah.
I'd have to look it up because I've only, except for Montage Mountain, where I go to see bands like Aerosmith or Poison or stuff like that. There was only one other time I've ever gone to Scranton, and it was for the Typo Negative concert all the way back in the day, like late 90s.
So Peter Steele asked me, he had put his old band from the 80s back together called Carnivore. I don't know if you ever heard of Carnivore.
Okay. No.
Well, he was looking for guitarists for that, and I had the honor and privilege, to play with Peter in the reincarnation of Carnivore, which was...
Okay. Actually, now that you've said that, it is kind of ringing a bell, like a vague bell, that I've heard of them, but I'm not familiar probably with the music.
Yeah, it's intense, very hardcore metal, early hardcore metal, really, really energetic, pissed off sounding music. It's awesome. Carnivore was bad. Very controversial lyrics, but it was basically due to Peter creating an alternative world in his brain. So things in the content was very screwed up and kind of controversial. So, but we took that to Europe, toured Europe with Peter with that. And so that was, Life of Agony.
Controversy in music's good though. I mean, if you think about it, controversy in music is good for the most part.
Not when you have bomb threats at your shows because you're going to play.
Come on, look at Marilyn Manson. I mean, it only made him bigger in the 90s, all the controversy. Look at people like... Until a bomb goes off. Exactly. That's where, but it can be scary. At least the alternative reality wasn't something like when Garth Brooks decided to do his alter ego and go rock. That was just horrible.
But I had the opportunity to play in other bands, and Life of Agony is obviously my baby. Founding member. We started that band. We were just 17, 18 years old. So I'm 50 now.
How does it feel?
I just revealed my age.
How does it feel? How does it feel to have the band go on for so long? Like you just mentioned all these other projects that you were in, and there's probably a lot of projects that, I mean, besides solo projects, but that Mina's been in or that Alan has been in.
Yeah.
They're short-lived. They go on for a couple years. You do, a couple albums, couple shows, and then, it just dissolves. It just disappears. Right. It's done. It ran its course. It did what it was supposed to do and filled the void, and that was it. And Life of Agony, 30 years later,
33 years.
33 years. Yeah. So you're still here. I mean, do you think, I guess this kind of personal question, but because of the fact that you and Mina are literal family, do you think that's something that kind of held you together even a little bit more?
Most definitely.
To where it's kind of like you feel that right, that codependency because you grew up together, you've been doing it, and you really kind of are codependent upon each other in a way for the success and for this project to live on.
We talk to each other about it. We thank each other for it. I openly say it all the time. This is something that I think we're so blessed that we get to do, and I think we always have to remember that. We do, and we're blessed to have each other. And there are tough times. There are times where you say to yourself, how can we still, whatever, how are we still doing this, or what are we doing? But it's so important to us, and it's so special to us, and we're so grateful for it, and we're grateful for each other. I think that's what it boils down to. Grateful for Alan. I'm grateful for my cousin. I'm grateful for their talent. I'm grateful for their energy, and I think that's reciprocal.
Man, you're so grateful. Definitely, I'm going to your house for Thanksgiving. I want to hear the speech.
and it comes from the heart. We just had rehearsal before this tour, and I basically openly just said to the three of them, including Veronica, new drummer. Well, she's not new anymore. We keep saying new drummer, but she's been in the band 4 years already. But just openly to the room,
she's amazing too. Veronica,
she's awesome. Just an awesome person. So fun and funny and easy. Great, amazing player. Just great all around. Just a great person to have in the band as an addition to this band that's been around for so long. But I just turned to them at rehearsal, and I just said, it just was one of those moments. I was like, I'm so grateful for you guys. I'm just so grateful for the three of you guys. And this is so important. This is so important to me to do this with you guys. And I just wanted them to hear it. Sometimes you have to tell people things. Sometimes you shouldn't never be afraid to tell people how you feel or what the thought, even if it's an obvious thing. Sometimes it's good for people to hear it, that they're appreciated and and I think that's what keeps us tight.
Don't assume they know. Actually say it. It's important to say the words. So we are out of time, but let's finish with this. I did see news. I saw various news about Life of Agony over the past couple of days. One was the remainder of your Northeast tour seems to have been canceled due to COVID.
I
believe, was it Mina and Veronica?
Yeah, Mina and Veronica,
Yeah, with COVID. Are they doing okay?
Yeah, they're doing okay. They're on the up and up. I was just on the phone with Mina yesterday. I spoke to Veronica as well the other day, and we have plans to get back together and rehearse. We have some shows coming up, and we also are going to do makeup dates in May. That's being put together right now. So all these shows that we missed, and we're going to tack on some other dates. So although the tour got kind of cut short on us, it's going to turn out to be something good in a way. And we're going to be playing.
I saw the addition of, it looked like a bigger tour as well, too, or something like that, with a lot of other bands that's coming out as well, too.
Well, we're talking about doing some more stuff in Europe. We're going to be doing some stuff, like I said, in May in the US. We're also playing with Glassjaw. We're doing a couple of shows with those guys, and that's coming up in March. So, it's good stuff all around. Bottom line is we're still doing it. We're healthy, and everyone is healing.
That's good.
We're kind of past this COVID thing now, I believe. I believe the band has finally gotten past the COVID mountain, or whatever you want to put it, the COVID
hopefully
torture.
Yep.
And I think we're free and clear now to go about our business again.
That's awesome. As long as you accept credit cards at the merchandise booth, right?
I wanted to mention to everyone out there that I am a producer, and I record quite a bit for bands, and so if anyone wants to get a hold of me, you can do a recording.
That's what I wanted to ask you to finish up with. How can people, you do have Joey Z Productions.
Correct.
How can people get in touch with Joey Z Productions? How can they find out more about Life of Agony? And basically just tell us all around, how can they digitally stalk you? Digitally,
Sure.
Remember, that's a key. Digitally stalk you online, no restraining orders.
Yeah, I've had the people at my front door in Brooklyn, but those are long. That was a long time ago.
There you go.
What do you call it? So yeah, I'm on Instagram, just simply Joey Zampella. If you want to, go check out my page and stuff like that. I'm also on Facebook as Joey Zampella. I do have a website that's about to get redone. I had my website kind of stolen from me. I had a beautiful joeyzproductions.com website that somehow they infiltrated my files and basically stole all the files out of including pictures, content, and I had nothing.
Were they like holding it for ransom, or stole it?
No. They just basically went in there, hacked it, and then stole all the info. And when I went into my WordPress one day, first my website wasn't up all of a sudden. It was all jumbled. Anyway, long story short, I went into WordPress and there was nothing there. Literally just a couple of photos. They stole everything.
That happened to me like about 10 to 15 years ago, running a message board. And I think the guy's name was like Kazaa. And he's like, make your security tighter. This will never happen again. Kazaa. Yeah.
And then, so
come on.
So what I had to do is, so if you go to joeyzproductions.com now, there's a temporary kind of one-page website up, but the link to get in touch with me is there if you want to record. Don't let the website fool you. I have crazy professional facility and capabilities of recording a record that could, be competitive with whatever's out there. So you could still get in touch with me through the website. There's an email on there if you want to record with me. And of course, there's lifeofagony.com as well. So there's joeyzproductions.com for the recording side and post-production work. And then lifeofagony.com has all the info for Life of Agony and what we're doing, tour dates, all of the above.
Awesome.
So there you go.
Awesome. Hey, very grateful for you spending your what is today? Wednesday, right? Wednesday morning with us.
It's beautiful.
Wednesday this in COVID. Yeah, it's beautiful out there. It's in COVID, things just kind of blur together, and sometimes I have to look at my calendar. Oh, today is Thursday, or today is Wednesday. But
don't mind my appearance.
Thank you.
Don't mind my appearance today. I was just in the studio all morning. I was a little chilly. I don't know why. I threw a sweatshirt on, a baseball cap. And
I'm the same way. Hey, you're a rock star. You're allowed to dress how you want. It's
I'm kind of
acceptable. Yeah, there you go. Hey, Joey, thank you so much for coming on Joey Z. I really appreciate your time. This has been great. Just talking with you, dude. Thank you, and rock on, my friend.
Rock on. Thank you so much for having me on the Shock Bite. The Shark Bite.
Shark Bite Fizz.
The Shark Bite Fizz.
There you go. Thank you, Joey. Cheers. Wow, that was such an incredible chat with Joey Z, right? First, you all know the routine. If you found this interview helpful, if it sparked those warm and fuzzies, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. But if you really want to help us out, because Shark Bite Biz is the greatest kept secret in all the world of small business, please share this episode out to your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers. Share it out to some rock stars like Joey Z. Let's get them on the show. Okay, share it out to everybody you can. That would be amazing wherever you dwell on the interwebs, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Minds, Rumble, Odyssey, YouTube, iHeartRadio, everywhere. So please do us a favor, help us grow. We can only grow when you share us out. Now, let's get back to our literal rock star guest, Mr. Joey Z. There's been few bands that have lasted for so many years like Life of Agony. One of the secrets of Life of Agony, not only do they act like one big family, and you often hear that from bands, you know, think of somebody, Aerosmith, who has the same 5 original band members. Well, I guess breaking news this past week is that Joey Kramer, their drummer, is taking a leave of absence, but will actually be filled in by Jack Douglas, who was also on the show. His son is going to be their temporary drummer, but you know, while he works through some issues that he's going through, I mean, they do have all 5 of their original founding members, and it's been over 50 years now that they've been a band. And there's a couple other stories out there like that where it's all the original founding members, but not many once you get that long, that old. And, you know, Joey Z, well, let's get back to the point here where I was talking about Aerosmith and those bands, is that they all say, oh, well, we're one big family, you know, family fight, egos, blah, blah, blah. Or as Joe Perry put it, LDS, LSD, lead singer dysfunction, or whatever it's called. That happens, you know, and it happens in a band, especially if you start to get hot or you don't like the direction. And it's hard to keep a family together. I mean, there's a lot of broken families, even just in regular family life. Look at how many parents are divorced. Look at how many people get divorced. You know, families break up, and it is natural. So, you know, it's kind of real to the point where Joey Z says that their band has been able to survive over 30 years because they not only act like a family, but they literally are a family. So, you know, Joey Z and Mina are cousins and had been playing together ever since they were young. I mean, that's amazing. So then you mix that in with friends like Alan Robert, who also was on this show last season, who was amazing. You know, and that's a big secret to success for bands to last for the long term. There's a business discussion to be had about this. If you're running a business or you're running a rock band, there's a lot of things that, you know, kind of cross over. And that's why I bring rock stars on like Joey Z, like Alan Robert, like Jack Douglas, producer, or all the other people, even William Hung we've had on the show, because, you know, they kind of tell us how they've had success. A band, yeah, they produce a product. It's music, but they are a business. And there is, just like with any other small business, there's a secret to success of how you work it, how you market it, how you grow the band. And, you know, especially these days, you can't really count on the labels to push you. There's too much independent media out there, too many different sites. It's really hard. People aren't listening to the radio to get their hits, even if it's satellite radio, as much as they did 20, 30 years ago. So, you know, small businesses, they are essentially like small families. Okay, you're working together, you know, you're taking care of each other, you're all trying to work towards the same mutual goal of making it and growing your business, or in Joey Z's case, growing your band. And like he was saying, essentially, you have to know your team. You have to respect each other. Take your breaks, take some space, okay? For those of us that aren't in rock bands and be like, oh, I'm going to take 6 months off touring and recording, you know, take your actual vacation time, unplug for a week, okay? Most businesses can still survive if one person unplugs for a week or two, okay? You need that. You need to allow that your creative juices are able to regenerate and recharge, and that way you're able to come back bigger and stronger than you were before. Listen to other opinions and really respect those of your coworkers, whether you agree or disagree, and just try to find the middle ground to make it work, because infighting, hurdles, stuff like that is usually what will break bands up, what will break up small businesses, because maybe there's two partners and they had a fallout, whatever it is. And Life of Agony has kind of found that recipe to respect everybody, their individual endeavors that they have, and just make it work and stay together. And especially with rock bands, and rock stars, especially, they get bigger egos as time goes on. I mean, let's face it, when you feel like you're in the top of the world, you're going to have a pretty big ego. I'll tell you what, out of everybody I've met, this is including Life of Agony. Okay. I would probably say Life of Agony, Alice Cooper, AC/DC were probably the most compassionate and humblest people I've ever met. So I've met pretty much everybody from Life of Agony, and I've got to tell you, they are like the most loving people. It's like, oh, give me a big bear hug, David. You rock. It's weird. I mean, that's how it was when I met Brian Johnson and Angus Young. Like, this is way back. I was really a nobody at the time, very young in my career, and we just saw their concert, and we pulled into a Popeye's Chicken that was in Inglewood, California, right down the street from where the stadium was. And here comes a van, and out jumps out Angus Young and Brian Johnson at a Popeye's Chicken in Inglewood yet. And, they're talking with us for like 20 minutes, like just chilling and treating us, like me and my buddy, like we're the rock stars. That was amazing experience. And I got that same experience talking with Life of Agony, their various members, and having that type of attitude, that type of feeling, that type of look on life as far as how you treat people, how you act with, meeting somebody like me. I mean, that's important. That really shows that, you care. You just don't view me like, oh, that's just another dollar for us to make. We're not just a customer of yours because we're a fan and we're going to buy your music and your material, stuff like that. And, it takes it to another level to where it feels like there's a mutual respect that Life of Agony, Joey Z, Alan Robert, Mina, all of them, that they respect us as much as we respect them. And that is something that really just blows my mind. But again, in the business sense of things, I've said this a million times. I treat my sales team, my consulting team, my customers, my prospects, my manager, myself, I treat everybody the same way. I am who I am. Okay. On the clock, off the clock. I'm going to be that same compassionate, humble dude as often as I can. And that has allowed me to grow as an individual, as a business professional, and to grow my business. And it's allowed me to break through some major escalations that we've had with the business. And that's where that really translates, I think, into what Life of Agony, what Joey Z was kind of telling us. I mean, that's how I relate to it as a businessman. Now, I will say, okay, well, being humble is a good ingredient for success. Remember, nobody likes an egotistical, arrogant a-hole. It is a turn off. But, especially in the sales world, okay, having a little bit of cockiness, having competition, It's healthy, and that translates with the band too. I mean, yeah, you want to have a little bit of an ego. You want to have a little bit of cockiness, a little bit of competition, because it drives you. Nobody wants to talk to somebody that's just like weak. I mean, you need to know, are you good? Okay. Show you're good, okay? And have that reflect of you being good. And I think that pushes people, but you've got to learn the limitations of what you're dealing with and really learn the motivation of what drives that group of people. So Life of Agony, they all know each other, okay? Joey Z knows what drives Alan. He knows what drives Mina. So when he has an angle, he's going to work that properly, just as they presumably work him when they have an angle, knowing what motivates him, so that they're all looking out for each other. And that's really what a business relationship is. Just that this is more than business for them. It's literal family. So it's a really happy, awesome story that we've been able to hear today. And I really feel that it's been 30 years, but Life of Agony is set up for long-term success, and they've really proven it. So lastly, please don't forget the Life of Agony documentary that's coming out that Joey Z mentioned for us. And if you're looking for production work, again, Joey Z is a world-class guitarist. He knows the industry inside and out. So please reach out to Joey Z Productions to get help with your creative product, to help move it to the next level. Awesome stuff again, Joey Z. Thank you so much for coming on to the show and showing us a side that not many people get to see of rock stars like yourself. You rock, my brother. Thank you again. Remember, if you want to be on this show just like Joey Z was, please shoot an email out to interviews@sharkbitebiz.com. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, mine, Spotify, wherever, please subscribe, or YouTube, hit that join channel for $3 a month. You can become a baby shark. Get some extra perks, stuff like that, support the channel, or head on over to deadhousecoffee.com. Nobody likes being a zombie in the morning. Get back to life with the freshest coffee on earth. Use code SHARK, get 20% off your purchase. All the proceeds help us continue to bring in this show to you each and every week. You all know this by now, but I'm David Strausser. This is Shark Bite Biz. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you for listening to Shark Bite Biz. We hope you got some insightful info from this podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us through your favorite podcast app and visit us on the web at www.sharkbitebiz.com. How has business changed for you in the 20s? Email us at podcast@sharkbitebiz.com so you can join us and share your story.